Just picked up this JVC stereo system from my favourite charity shop. It's model number MX-K1R, and the reason I was attracted to this particularly is not because of its looks. In fact, I think it's downright ugly, but it seems to have reasonably good cassette decks. It doesn't have auto reverse, but both decks are full logic control, and if we look at the recording deck, obviously it's very mucky in there, it's going to need a good clean, but it does have a proper electronic erase head there, so it's probably going to be AC erase. So it should make reasonably good recordings, albeit with automatic level controls. I gave it a quick try, and predictably the cassette decks don't work. In both cases the capstans run fine, but there's no drive to the take-up hub. And I took the top off and I found that was down to a belt that had disintegrated into black goo. I managed to get the belt for one of the decks out intact, or relatively intact, which enabled me to measure it and order what I hope are suitable replacements for both decks. So just get the speakers out of the way. I have to remember that the two longer screws are in the top sides here. Now luckily this capstan belt is actually okay, because in order to change that I think I would have to remove the motor, because it passes around this support post here which holds the motor on. But I don't need to change that, it's fine. The belt that's failed actually goes on the sort of rear position of this flywheel here and goes up to this white pulley up here. And I can get at that by just taking this capstan belt off, and I'll give that a bit of a wipe, I think. Just get some of that dust off there. Now hopefully I can get this belt in. Goes behind the flywheel and then up to that white pulley. If I can get it on. It's not gone on the bottom end properly. There we are, that's better. Unfortunately my hand's probably now in the way so you can't see what I'm doing. That's on. But it does actually feel a bit slack. I think I've got a slightly too big belt there. That's a shame. I think I need a slightly smaller belt really, but it may work. Let's try it. Let's just put the capstan belt back on. I won't bother to connect the speakers up yet, I'll just see if the deck runs first. In fact, before I do that, I will just give the heads and the capstan and pinch roll a little bit of a clean, just to get some of the filth off. If it works, I'll give it a proper clean up in there, but I just don't want to run a tape over those filthy heads. Right, let's try a tape. And yes, it appears to be running. Let's just stop it at that point, make sure it's not munched my tape up. No, it's fine. I think that's running. Should we try fast forward? Sounds good. Rewind. Yep, rewind sounds good as well. That belt is actually working, although it is a little bit too slack really. Anyway, let's connect the speakers up and see what it sounds like. In fact, before I connect the speakers up, I'll replace the other belt. Again, the capstan belt is absolutely fine, don't need to change it, which is lucky. So we can just lift that off, and again I'll just give that a wipe over, just get some of the junk off of that. And again, see if we can get this belt in. Right, apologies, my hand is probably going to be in the way of the camera, but it's just a bit too fiddly to do and let you be able to see it as well, unfortunately. There we are, that's on. But yeah, again, that is way too slack. I should have used a slightly bigger belt, really. Of course, I meant I should have used a smaller belt. Let's try and grab hold of the... can't get hold of the capstan belt. There it is. Put that back over the flywheel. There we are. I'm actually surprised that belt is working. It's so slack. Anyway, let's give that one a try. Oh, and again, I want to clean the head, don't I? Now, I've put my tape down somewhere. Where have I put that? Oh, is it still in the other deck? Yes, it is. Right, see if this deck runs. Oops, helps if you turn it on. Oh. What appears to have happened here is that this deck is locked in the closed position, which is a bit annoying because it's trapped my tape. If I turn it off and turn it on again. Now, is it just because the belt isn't turning that that's not working? Let's have a look at the belt. Ah, that's enabled me to get my tape out. So, let's try it again. Come on. Yeah, it's not happy, is it? Something distinctly wrong there. Now, looking at this, I don't know if this will come across on the camera, but this head looks to me as though it's tilted back that way into the mechanism. I don't think that head is mounted correctly. In fact, it's a little bit easier to see in this earlier shot from before I cleaned the head. If we look at the other deck, see the head is much straighter, pointing straight up as it should be into the cassette. But on this side, the head looks like it's leaning back. So I wonder if that's just bent out of position. If we just push on it, will it bring it back into the right position? A bit more, I think. That looks a lot better, actually. In fact, that looks like it's in a much more sensible position now. Just give it another little wipe with the old isopropyl alcohol. And see if the machine is happier now. Doesn't appear to be, does it? At this point I turned the whole system off and back on again, which seemed to wake it up. Yes, that's now running. So I think the reason it wasn't working is because that head was out of position. It was just jamming on the cassette shell and preventing the mechanism from operating correctly. I think the screeching noise is probably just because that belt is way too slack. You can see that's not running right at all in there, can't you? I'm surprised it's turning at all, actually. So yeah, I think I just need slightly smaller belts and we'll be good. But I think I can still give it a try like this. Just count the speakers up. Right, speakers connected up. Here we go. Yep, it's playing. Let's try the other deck. Yep, absolutely fine. So yeah, I need to get some smaller belts to replace those ones, but I think I'll just reassemble it for now. That's good, I think that's going to be a worker. Yep, it's worth getting the correct size belts, isn't it? Right, I've ordered some 40mm belts, which hopefully will be a better fit for this machine. But in the meantime, I've just temporarily put the thing back together, mainly so I don't lose the screws. But those belts that are in there are working well enough, such that we can now try a recording. So I'm going to put in a blank tape. It's right at the beginning. And the first thing I'm going to record is complete silence. Now you might be thinking, why on earth is he recording silence? Well, the reason is I want to see if this machine is DC arrays or AC arrays. If it's DC arrays, when we play back this recording, we'll immediately be able to hear that telltale sort of hissing, roaring type noise, I used to call it, of the DC arrays. Difficult to describe, but it's a very distinctive noise, almost like a waterfall, like Niagara Falls or something. And if that's DC arrays, we'll immediately hear that. If it's AC arrays, we'll hear a little bit of noise on there because we'll just get the normal tape hiss, but it won't be that telltale, horrible roaring noise that you get with DC arrays. So that's probably enough. Let's stop there and rewind. And play that tape back. So we're still on the leader at the moment, so when we get off the leader, yeah, we should hear that slight increase in noise, which we have. Yeah, that's definitely AC arrays. Yeah, that's just normal tape hiss. So that is an AC arrays cassette deck. Excellent. So let's try a recording of something from the YouTube audio library. I've got a CD in there which has just got a few audio library tracks on it, so we'll copy one of those over onto the tape. Before I do that, I'll just make sure this tape is, oh dear, got some muck on it there, off the leader. About there, that should do the trick. And we'll record over track 5, I think. Actually, if I stop and then choose track 5, should be able to press CD record start and it will do a synchro recording. So I'll just let that track record and we'll play it back. Oh, right, stop. CD record finished. And it stopped the tape. So now I have to flick back to tape mode before it'll let us rewind. And play. Well, that sounds absolutely fine to me. Okay, it's not wonderful, but it's perfectly acceptable for what it is, and I'd be quite happy to listen to that. Although it's one of those situations where the whole system's being really badly let down by the terrible speakers they've supplied with it. Yes, they look the part, but they're all show and no go, as they say. They just sound really boxy and hollow. Of course, it won't help that someone's drilled holes in the back of the cabinets, presumably to mount them on a wall, and those screws in the corners don't look original to me either. But even so, they're not good speakers, and I'm sure this system would sound really good when used with a decent pair of speakers. So all I need to do now is wait for the replacement belts to come, fit them, then find some decent speakers to go with it, and this will be a really nice little stereo system. Right, it's a couple of days later now, and my 40mm belts have arrived, so let's get those fitted. That's a much better fit, but I think if anything that's slightly too tight now. I think if I was doing this again I'd probably go for a 42.5mm diameter belt, but the 40mm belt should work fine. Right, now, other deck. Much better. Right, let's give it a try. Again, I won't connect the speakers up just yet, I'll just see if it runs first. Seems fine. And yes, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? Right, let's connect some speakers up. I found these Technics speakers, which are a bit beaten up, but the actual speakers themselves are in good condition. They're SB-HD310, and I think they're originally supplied with a little micro system. And these should sound a lot better than the ones that were supplied with this. So I'll get these speakers hooked up, I'll put the casing back on the machine, and we'll give it another try. Right, we're all reassembled and connected up to the Technics speakers. So let's power up. And turn on. I think I left my tape in there, didn't I? Oh, it started playing. Wow, what a difference. That sounds superb. Right, let's check the other deck. That sounds really good. That's a seriously nice little system, that is, for someone that wants to play back their old cassettes. Thanks very much for watching.